And you are Nioh! Let's go! Nioh 2 is the best Souls-like game out there, and by the end of this video, if you are not already convinced, you will be. I am a Platinum Trophy hunter. Why do you ask? Because by getting the Platinum Trophy, I feel like I am able to touch every part of a game and get a feel for everything, have a good understanding about everything, and give the best advice I can on if this game is worth your time and your money. You see, Souls games have been around for a while now, and I was not lucky enough to be there to try out Dark Souls when it was first released. I became a Souls fan later on in life after playing a fan favorite, Bloodborne. It was not love at first sight though. After quitting and coming back to it and giving it another shot, that is when the magic began. I felt this same way with Nioh 2. I have tried a good amount of Souls-like games, and Nioh 2 pissed me off when I started playing it. I was getting my ass handed to me. The combat is nothing like a Souls game. Very fast-paced with a ton of shit going on. You got combos and you got a key pulse. What the hell is a key pulse? Screw this. But then something changed, and I actually learned what a key pulse was. And oh my gosh, it was a game changer. I was mowing through the enemies. I'm not going to lie. There were still really hard enemies and bosses, but I did not feel like I was being dragged through the mud. The combat is more complex than any other Souls-like game that I have played, but once you get it down, it is one of the best. So where to start? I always like to kick this off with the things I don't like, because as good as this game is, there are some things that I feel like could use some work. Numero uno, the freaking inventory. What is up with some of these games that just want to dump a shitload of items, armor, and weapons on you that have no relevance to what you need? I picked up so much crap in this game that I ended up dismantling and selling or just leaving on the ground because I could not be bothered. There has got to be another way. No way we need that much crap. I hate inventory management. It takes away from the gameplay. This brings me to my second thing I dislike, and that is that there is little to no explanation about how combat, leveling, or blacksmithing works. While I've already talked about combat, the blacksmith can do a lot of cool things to make your armor and weapons better, but it is not very intuitive. Dark Souls is known for dropping you into the game and not telling you shit and just letting you figure it out. But it's not as complex as Nioh 2, and there are hints within a Dark Souls game that point you in the right direction. With the combat and inventory situation in Nioh 2, a new player could feel overwhelmed. There were times where I felt like I had to look at all the stats of every single weapon to compare every weapon, and there was so much inventory that it took me at least 15 to 20 minutes each time to get through them until I figured out that a lot of it just really doesn't matter, and you can disassemble a bunch of weapons at the same time and not worry about every single piece of weapon or armor that you obtain. The third thing that I did not like about the game was that a lot of the side missions felt super repetitive, and because I was going after the Platinum Trophy, I needed to do every single side mission. A lot of the side missions are just pieces of the main mission or pieces of the main mission map, and you run through doing different things, fighting a lot of the same enemies, sometimes even the same bosses. I kind of wanted a little bit more variety. Main missions were great. It was the sub-missions that felt super repetitive, like I was doing the same thing over and over again, and it wasn't even grinding. Now, let's move on and talk about the 3 things that I love about this game, because this game is a great game. I know I just focused on a few things that I disliked, but the good definitely outweighs the bad in Nioh 2. First thing I want to point out that I absolutely love about this game is the combat. I know what you're saying. Wait a second, Myers, you just complained about the combat. But I also said that once you get the hang of it, it is very satisfying. I love the combat once I got things down. It felt so satisfying. At first, I would just continue to spam the same buttons over and over and over again like a maniac. But then I opened up the skill tree on each individual weapon. Each individual weapon has combos, and within those combos, you can assign them to different stances that you have. You have a low stance, a mid stance, and a high stance. And my chat will make fun of me about this all the time, but I am a mid stance Chad. I love mid stance. I didn't do too much outside of the mid stance. I like to stay in the mid stance, but there's also stance switching. So as you can see, the combat is very complex, but it sounds complex. Just trust me. Once you get the hang of it, it's very satisfying and not as complex as I am making it sound. Once you get the hang of it, it's very satisfying and there's a flow to it. Almost reminds me a little bit of Sekiro. It's a dance. I love to keep dancing over and over and over again. And the combat is really what helped me with the repetitiveness of the side missions, because I really didn't care that they were repetitive because I could continue to enjoy the combat. Now this brings me to the second thing that I loved about this game, which was the customization. Again, you're saying, Myers, you just complained about being too overwhelmed. Let's take a step back. I complained about the game not explaining things to me, but once I understood everything and figured out the weapon skill trees, the levels of your character, as well as the weapons and the armor, the customization is out of control. Out of control in a good way. You can make any build you can think of. I went with a magic build because magic is OP, and my build consisted of basically me being a tank, and with each hit that I hit on an enemy, I was healing myself. So I tore through the enemies. It was awesome. The game really does let you play how you want to play. You could play fast-paced, you could play slow-paced, you can play with arrows and guns, you can play with big boy weapons, you can play with little katanas, you can play with your fists. It's got it all. It really does. There's so many abilities that you can use. It's all at your fingertips. We are now down to the third and final thing that made me love this game, and that's the massive content that it has. Again, Myers, you just complained about the side missions. Because of the customization, because of the combat, the game is fun and there are so many things to do and so many weapons to play with that the replayability of this game is out the wazoo. They give you so much content, and there are 3 DLCs with new weapons and new abilities. You could put thousands of hours into this game. I have actually known and met people who have put thousands of hours into this game. I'm just barely at 100 hours into this game, and I'm just scratching the surface. You can go into New Game Plus, New Game Plus Plus, New Game Plus Plus Plus, and so on. There's even more content after that. It doesn't end. If you wanted, you could play this game for at least a year. Definitely worth the money you pay for it, and I'm sure wherever you buy it, whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, you're not even gonna have to pay full price for it at this point, because it's been out so long. Alright, so have I convinced you yet? Are you willing to give Nioh 2 a try? Does it sound like the best Souls-like game you could ever dream of? You got your combat, you got your weapons and customization, you got plenty of content. What are you waiting for? Oh yeah. Let me put a cherry on top for you. The story of this game is awesome as well. The creativeness of the story and how it ties with other things that have happened in the past, which I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil it for you, is amazing. So just do it. Go out there, get Nioh 2, play it, and love every minute of it. Especially if you're a Souls or Souls-like fan, this is right up your alley. Please leave a comment. Tell me why. Am I totally off? Do I not know what I'm talking about? Or am I spot on? I'd love to hear how you guys feel about Nioh 2 and if the Platinum Trophy changes your opinion as well. I'll tell you one thing. This is the reason why I love doing Platinum Trophies. Like I said before at the beginning, I feel like I really get to touch every part of the game and get to learn as much as I can to give my best opinion of the game. So until next time, please check out my other Platinum Trophies, reviews, and videos. Thank you.